Hello, guys. Welcome to Baobab Charts, another episode again in 2021. I'm sure tomorrow is Valentine's Day, but I'm just saying it. I'll pass through. Hi, guys. I'm sure you're anticipating something from your loved ones. Um, but like I said, I'll just say it. Welcome, guys, to Baba Chats. Welcome, Queen, and welcome, Lennon and Katie. Before we start the program, can you briefly introduce yourself, where you are, what you're doing, or whatever you want to tell us, or whatever you are anticipating tomorrow, maybe from your loved ones, if you want to tell us?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Herbert, for allowing me to be here. My name is Lennon. I'm in Cape Town, South Africa. And okay, about tomorrow, yes, I'm expecting something because I've got a better half. So I'll definitely be expecting. Every doorbell, I'll be running to the door. So yeah, I can't wait. Thank you.
Okay, for sure, Queen.
Cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Queen Gumede, and I'm also based in Cape Town, South Africa. I'm not expecting much for tomorrow. I believe love should be celebrated every day. This whole hype about Valentine must just stop. But anyways, I'm a mother. I'm a mother of two. I've got twin daughters that are 15 years old. Yeah.
I like that. Katie, you can go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Kiriboni. I am a mother of she is a 7-year-old baby. She stays one in my mind. I am a lecturer at Port Elizabeth College. And I'm currently not expecting anything tomorrow because my daughter made sure that I get all the perks of Valentine's Day today. So I'm not allowed to complain tomorrow. So I'm not anticipating anything. I am with Queen. This Valentine's Day hype needs to stop because we should celebrate it every day.
Okay. I am still with the vibe, but it's fine. Let's actually dive into the conversation. The Valentine's conversation is gonna be for another day. We should have another conference, another episode of it. Okay, guys. The pandemic has actually changed quite a lot in the way we live, the way we actually attribute our lives every day. I mean, Queen, you said that you are. I mean, I know for sure you are a mother of two. But how are you dealing with this the parenting and homeschooling right now with your kids?
So I think it's a little bit of a roller coaster.
Mhm.
And you know how a roller coaster ride at some point it's really nice, and when you go down it's like woo, and it just
Yes,
goes down, and you kind of have to just ride
I
the
can
wave.
imagine.
So
Yeah.
I think we were all like, but in all honesty, I think we were all kind of just thrown into the deep end.
Mhm.
Nobody really prepared us for this pandemic, and I suppose we've just learned to thrive and to survive. Just being alive is a blessing on its own. So,
Mhm.
and just having the children at home and being locked in at home and not being able to have the flexibility that we are used to. I mean, I
Mhm.
remember, just a bit of background, before the pandemic I didn't have Wi-Fi at home, right?
Okay.
Because there was no need for it, but we had to quickly move to Wi-Fi because the children needed to connect on Teams. And my daughters, in as much as they are twins, but the other one is in grade 8 and the other one is in grade 9 this year. And so that means that it's different grades, it's different connections. So definitely, so in terms of technology, we really needed to move with the times, get unlimited Wi-Fi, make sure that we have gadgets that actually work, and also just being able to provide that support. So really, it has really been something, in as much as it has some negativity, but there's a lot of positive that has come out of it, because we've had to move with times and we've had to learn new skills, and even the children themselves have had to learn. There are some challenges with it, because with this technology comes a lot of responsibility, because
Yes,
if you've got
Absolutely.
I get that. So let's not get there yet. We are
yeah,
going to that point. And Lennon, what will be your experience?
Like what Kim said, it's been a roller coaster year from last year, and I'm fortunate enough to have a wife who's always hands on when it comes to this homeschooling, and but there's a lot of things that had to come into place. We used to, we used to do homeworks with the children and just using one laptop, and we had to move in quickly and buy more gadgets, like what Queen said. We had to buy them also the laptops, because we had to do our work and they had to do also their work. So it's been a tough journey, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful now that we are managing, and at least we're more like teachers now, and whatever we taught at school, now we know how to do it, and some of the things we had already forgotten. And
For
my
sure,
son
for sure.
is now in grade 7, and some of the grade 7 mathematics, I mean, they look like high school mathematics. So we actually bring our minds are actually coming back now, and it's really tough, because at the end of the day, most of the times we're working from home, both of us, and we're trying to give them homework also as much as we are doing our work. So in those times, as children, when they do like one question and then he comes back or she comes back and say, "Oh, I'm not
Wait,
understanding."
Lennon. Stan says he's disappointed. You are not involved. You just said to your wife. Okay.
I said I'm fortunate enough to have got a wife that is hands on, as much as I'm also hands on.
hey,
No,
delegation
it's
is
not.
work. Delegation is work. He delegated. That's working.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. We can pause it there. Katie, tell us your experience.
You know, I must say the lockdown has humbled me as a mother. I'm not gonna lie, because you realize how much teachers actually do. As a lecturer, to me, being a lecturer comes naturally. It's my job. But as a mother of a child now, I realize how much I appreciate my child's grade art teachers and the patience that they have. And it's crazy that the volume of work that they do is almost equivalent to matric work, the way they're so busy. But you end up having so much appreciation for all their efforts. And also, technologically, I've been challenged also. I've been introduced to things like Class Dojo. I can't imagine what it's like for a parent who has no concept whatsoever of technology and these new apps, how they would cope in that kind of situation. Fortunately for me, education is on my side, but I don't know for the next person what that must be like. It must be equally frustrating as it is for the teacher who expects the child to have done the work in the classroom.
You pointed quite a very you pointed in the right direction where I wanted to say. I mean, because Lennon is talking about, oh, we had forgotten about these things. What if I did not even know
Yes.
about the things? That's the first part. People say, okay,
Yes.
you, both maybe both of you, Queen and Lennon, say that we had to buy gadgets. Fine. What happens if I don't have the money to buy the gadgets? We all went to online. Okay, but
Mm.
you have the means to go online. What if I don't have the means to go online? Um, how do you think that? Let's say, I mean, hypothetically, because probably we are not going to experience it. How, because now you can't even go to next door and share with the next door neighbor, because that then defeats the purpose of pandemic.
Yeah.
But then how do you
Mm.
think, or in your own opinion, this could be eradicated or to be solved?
Yeah, I kind of feel like, so I'm going to speak in the South African context. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like there was more that could have been done in order to equip the children to be able
Mhm.
to learn at home. I kind of feel like if maybe if the teachers had communicated, because I mean, in as much as not everybody has fancy gadgets, but you still have a means of communicating with the parent. I feel
Mhm.
like that maybe the government should have maybe deployed the parents to actually go to school and get the work physically. So maybe like workbooks and different things, in order for the children to continue working. I mean,
Okay.
if you look at the situation right now, there's
Mhm.
some children are only going back to school on Monday, but the pandemic
Mhm.
has been with us since last year March here in South Africa in specific.
Okay.
So by now I kind of feel like there should have been ways of communicating without the technology being involved. Really, I feel like some work
Yeah.
the parents could collect, and they say, for this week this is what we are doing, try and help your children with this, especially because I think it's the reading, it's the maths that's very, very important. Anything else is just information, and these days it can be googled at a later stage. So I think it's the reading, it's the maths that is important, and so they should have found ways of getting the work to the children. I mean, we've
To the
got
children.
things like TV, and most people have TV. Even in squatter camps, people have DSTV because you drive and you actually see it. I think some of the channels could have been used for education, for live streaming education for children without necessarily having to log on to Teams or
To
to
log on
Zoom or
to Teams.
whatever those
Okay.
things are. So yeah, that's
Okay,
my
so there's Letty actually said a very good point. I don't know if it can come back again, but she says that they were using Google Classroom to help. It helped them for them. It worked for them, and then the kids, but the work was just too much. I can imagine, but also this actually means that you need to have the gadgets because Google Class, you have to have the gadget. Kelly, I want to come to you from a lecturer perspective. I know you have got both roles in this part, but how do you feel from an educator perspective? How do you think to feel like could actually have been done, or what you are doing right now?
To be honest with you, I feel like I hear what Queen is saying, and in other schools, I've seen parents being called to come and get the children's homework. But I want to also reiterate the point of, because she did say something also equally important there. She said that the parents need to be informed. The parents need to be educated also. And for me as a lecturer, that's a very big thing. I don't know what's currently happening with ABET, but this is where ABET would have played a huge role for adults. You can't give a child homework, expect their parent to guide them when the parent themselves do not know what they're doing. That kind of makes it very
Exactly.
difficult. And in as much as it is a teacher's responsibility to teach a child, we are not there 24/7. And we're still trying to incorporate independence in this child. So the teacher and the parent need to work side by side. Again,
Okay.
to answer your question from a lecturer's point of view, because I'm only speaking from a teacher's point of view. From a lecturer's point of view, I deal with older learners who
Mhm.
are coming from rural areas, learners who come from some very impoverished areas, and some students are coming from well off areas also. So there is that discrepancy. Those who have
Okay.
these gadgets will understand the things we require of them, and those who don't have
Mhm.
these things will not understand the things we require. Now, I
Mhm.
feel like at TVET colleges specifically, government should make provision for
Mhm.
lecturers to go to online classes with a facilitator available. They should make student portals. There is such a discrepancy between universities and TVETs, first of all.
Okay.
Students at universities are better equipped for remote learning. They get
Mhm.
data. Our students don't have
Mhm.
access to data. The NSFAS Gadgets come out of NS first. They even have the option of trying to get a laptop. Other universities have made that kind of provision. At TVETs, we're behind. Without a lecturer present, those students struggle. We are one of those who cannot, even if we were to go back to level 5, I won't even go far. Last year, we were locked in for lockdown. We were on level 5. I could continue with my studies. I'm also a student and a lecturer. I could continue with my studies. I could do my assignments. I could submit on time. I had data come on my phone every month. But what about the TVET student who doesn't have those facilities? They don't have a cell phone. They don't have a tablet.
Yes.
They don't have data or anything. Now, that is where government should have then stepped in.
Okay, let me hold you there. I think these are real problems that everybody is dealing with, and
Yes.
I mean, you have pointed all from a perspective of being a teacher, a parent, a student, a lecturer. You are 4 in 1. That gives us a very good view exactly what we're doing here. But Lennon, tell us your your experience, even if you are not involved but you are all from a managerial of delegation. I mean, you can tell us some experience from.
All right. Just to put your point clear there, Herbert, I'm also involved, eh?
I'm just.
All right. Yes. So you know, like what Katie and Quinn said. I mean, there's a lot of things that we were being sent by the schools that to teach our children. And some of these things, even us, we don't even understand. In terms of, I'll speak, for example, languages. I mean, there's certain languages, and there's certain ways that the children have to pronounce these words, and we pronounce it in a different way because I mean we've been there. And now I teach the child the way I want. When they go to school,
Lennon, can you give us an example of a word that you were trying to pronounce?
All right, so I'll give an example. A word like Jerry, Gery. Okay, this is an Afrikaans word. So if you explain it in Afrikaans, it's Gerry. You understand? So now I say, yes, this is Jerry. Now when you get to school, you say Jerry. Now they laugh at you or they laugh at him, and they say, no, this is not the right way. And they'll say, my father told me this. You know. So these are some of the challenges that we're facing in terms of teaching the children. When it comes to maths, I do the maths my way. I mean, I just say, okay, this is 1 + 1, but they are told that you need to break it down. And then I say, no, I don't have time to break it down. Just say 12 + 6 is 18. You know, then just 12 + 6 is 60. It's 18. You know, and then when they go to school, they say, no, this is the wrong way. You know, so sometimes we're actually confusing children, and at the end of the day, the children are caught in a limbo where they don't know which one to listen to because they've been at home for the past year and they only went to school to write exams. And when they write exams, you find that your child failed, but the child knew, but not in the way that the school wanted. So that is some of the challenges that we're facing as parents. And as much as what Letty say that we can go on Google and you know and look for answers. Yes, it helps also, but the way that they are taught at school is a little bit different. And I like what Quinn said and Katie that sometimes we need to engage with the teachers. I mean, this is a way forward. We need to engage with the teachers so that they tell us this is how we teach the children. So when you teach the children this way, and then we know how to teach rather than just sending emails. I can tell you when we closed for lockdown and the emails were just coming in left, right, and center. This is the work for the week. This is the work for the month.
But I want to hold you a little bit, Lennon. I mean, everybody says engagement for the teacher. I feel like the teacher has to teach the parent and the kid at the same time.
Not really about teaching, but it wasn't really about teaching, but that's
even
just
informing. Even because imagine I've got maybe 20 kids, right, in my classroom. Now I have to have another 20 more parents that are coming. So I've got now 40. I explain to the parent how he's supposed to teach, of which it took him or her 3 years to be at university to learn this. Now he has to explain this in a period of time, like, I don't know, 1 hour. This is how you teach it to your parent. I don't know whether that's feasible. But anyways, I'm just trying to point out a different direction.
No, we hear what you're saying, but
Yes.
I think the challenge is, why are they even changing how you do maths? Why do you have to break sums up in the first place? For example, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. I mean, and I don't know how many wrong stuff that I found in these blue books, you know, when you're doing this maths and you're just like, this is incorrect in the first
This
place.
is incorrect.
So we don't even have a teacher parent issue here. We just have a system issue where some of these things are just incorrect.
Should we say that what they are being taught is wrong? Because you said there are so many wrong things in the blue. But
yes, because
for another day. Let's hold.
Yes.
A conversation for another day, Queen. Let's not get there. But I wanted to know, like, I mean, we have expressed how things are. I mean, now that we spend more time with our kids and they're always at home, and you know, sometimes they were at home and they would go play outside. Nowadays, maybe they have to be just home, and in the house. I mean, how do you deal with this? I mean, I can imagine, Queen, in my imaginary world, that you have your laptop for work, and then everyone has another laptop for another class, and the other one have got another laptop. Do you sit in the same room? Everybody has their own room? What happens? How do you deal with this nightmare? I'm sure this is crazy. Now we are in a meeting and someone, Mom, how does this work? And this is, I think you go crazy, really.
Yeah, I think there's been days where it literally goes like that, where you are in a meeting.
I just want to read what Paul says. He said, I love the point that KD was bringing out about the role of the government. Yes, the role of the government, yes, but it's necessary. Okay, I think the government try to bridge the gap and make unnecessary gadgets available for students if they're only doing it for everybody. But anyways, you can continue, Queen. I just wanted to point out that comment from Paul.
Yeah, well, there's a lot that we can say about the government, but I guess that's not the conversation for today.
Yes.
So I think the nice thing is that this pandemic, not that the pandemic is nice, is that work understood that we are in a pandemic where we are at home with our children. Because I don't know how many times I've actually been in a meeting and then all of a sudden, because I sit in the lounge, which happens to be connected to the kitchen, all of a sudden the twins come running and they're making a noise. I'm in the middle of a call and my colleagues can now hear them. But fortunately, in that context, they understand that you are at home and children are bound to do that. And it's really frustrating. So how we were breaking it up is that we were actually playing games together as a family, just to break up that whole, I'm sitting in front of a laptop and this is what's happening. And for me, fortunately, the twins were doing their schoolwork in their room and I was doing my work in the lounge where my office is set up. But you do get those disturbances because they are children. Sometimes they just want to run around for no reason, and you just have to cope with that.
Okay. So this is not a nightmare. It's you are integrating everything all together. Now I'm sure you are with them 24/7. Hey, there's a time that you just go like, okay, please go and play, or they're in someone's place. But now you are there all the time. How does that make you feel? Overwhelming, or you feel blessed in a way, or?
No, so I think I did say at the beginning of this, it's a roller coaster. So some days you really feel blessed that, oh, I have all this time with my children and all of that. But there are days when you just like, I just need adult conversation.
Yes.
I need to be stimulated by an adult conversation.
Yes.
I don't want to hear.
And just to jump in there, Queen, I know I just taking it from where you say that when they come running up in a room where you are having a meeting, it's not only that. You know, sometimes they come and then they're holding something and say, Daddy, Mommy, can I have this? And I mean, you're in the middle of a conference call and you can't say no. And sometimes you really know that, I mean, they can't have it. And they know how to press these buttons, and they know that you cannot say no. And then they'll come and say, can I have this? And then you just say, you just nod your head so that they go. And then they will ask, what did you say? They want you to say yes, you can have it. So that tomorrow when you finish, then they will tell you, okay, you said I can have it. So they've also been playing with our minds, and they know how to manipulate us, and they understand that, okay, this person is busy at work, and this is the right time to come to this person to ask for something. And obviously you say no, because the moment you say no, it will be an argument. You don't want that to go into that and say,
this is a comment. Are you saying parents are becoming victims of their children in 2021?
Of course. I mean, I would say yes. I mean, we're becoming victims of what children, and they know how to manipulate. And also, they will come and tell you, because what we used to do here at home, we used to tell them, okay, from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock, we're going to be doing school, because obviously we will be doing also our work. So the moment that clock goes to 1 o'clock, they'll make sure they're in front of you, and you're not yet done with your things. They'll tell you, Daddy, Mommy, it's 1 o'clock. Can I play now? Then you say, okay, wait 5 minutes. They'll go back and come back, and they say, okay, it's 5 past. Some of those things. And, you end up because you really want to go on with your work. So these are some of the challenges that we're facing as parents at home, and where you can't say no to certain things that they really know that you will say no when you're not at work or on a conference call.
Kedi, what do you say about this issue?
This experience has taught me much about time management. Because in my situation, well, I don't work remotely. Not really anyway, because the students need me.
Okay.
And that would mean then that I would have to take her to daycare.
Okay.
Although it's a pandemic and it's crazy, I'm now at the mercy of a daycare. But today in particular, I'm on the run. I'm at home, but on the run, so that she doesn't come in here and ask for a slice of bread. But that's the card we're dealt with. So I kind of relate. Hey?
In front of the camera, so that we know that you're saying no to your kid about the slice of bread.
Yes. I'm just saying that as we speak right now, I'm on the run. So I kind of agree that we're under siege. Anything could happen.
But I'm sure
anything could happen.
Stanford says, I think the parents are now being weak and soft. But I think this siege, I think it's actually it can be annoying, but I've noticed that it's very interesting. Do you know why I say that?
Yes.
Because if one day they are not there, you probably look for them again.
Of course.
I mean, silence is damage. You can't just let them. You gotta watch out. When they're silent, something's happening.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, your kitchen could be burning down.
Yeah, in terms of these gadgets that we have managed to acquire for them, there's a lot of things that are happening. Whenever they are so quiet, sometimes we go and check and see what are they doing, because some of the quietness, sometimes a person can spend 2-3 hours and just quiet, closing their doors. So you also need to worry what's going on in there. So these are some of the things that we have been experiencing, where you also don't want them, and you also want to see what they do. Yes.
Okay. So you pointed at us in a very good direction. So this homeschooling and then the gadgets and everything, do we just let them be, or depends on the age, of course. Like now I've realized that silence means a war is happening or something really bad is really happening. I thought silence means your peace of mind. I think someone is so silent, that's when you actually get more worried. Yes. So now I don't know what you want, whether you want them to run up and down or you want them to be silent. But anyways, I'm not a parent, so maybe there's a confusion. Maybe I'll understand at some point. But I want to know that, do we let them be, or what could be the measures that, like with these gadgets, I mean, there are always, you can go to other sites that you don't want them to go. What are the measures are you putting in place, and how are you managing their time screen? Because if I've got um let's say I've got apps, like I can go to the Instagram, I can go to Facebook, but I can give you a false impression that I'm on Teams and actually do all this. How do you do this kind of stuff? Or TikTok?
Can I give you
Yeah.
can I give you a tip?
Yes.
Well, I have decided,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and I don't know about the rest. We have Netflix, we have Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So Netflix, all the Netflix accounts have a password, so she can't go in.
Okay.
The only Netflix she has that she has access to, if you're using Netflix, is the kiddies profile. But now
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that Netflix is not exactly child friendly for a child under 7 because anything
Okay.
appears.
All right.
Okay.
Then there is Amazon. Amazon censors the content based on the age group. So if you have a 7-year old, it's only 7-year old content. There's no soapies on Zack and Cody and they're in love and Barbie's in love. They're very they're stricter. So I've
Okay.
I've kind of tried to do research on that because with Netflix, what I find is you'll watch a teenage you'll go to the kiddie section, but a teenage show will still show, and you're not ready for your 7-year-old to know that these two are a couple. So
Okay.
Amazon works
Yeah.
for me.
Okay.
All right.
Queen, you wanted to
Oh,
say
Yeah.
something?
yeah. Well, so before I get to my point, but what I've picked up is that cartoons are they actually very much pro dating and and other
No.
funny stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, cartoons. But I mean, like, so yeah. So I don't know if there's an escaping that because I mean, like, and like two, they already have boyfriends and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, so I wanted to just
Like,
share a
what's up,
story.
Barbie? What's up, Barbie?
Yeah, like, so I wanted to share a story. One of my daughters who happens to be on Teams, who's
Yeah.
meant to be on Teams like the
On
whole
Teams, yes.
time with class. And so one day she has a meltdown, and I'm like, what's happening? She's like, because now they need to go back to school physically, right?
Yeah.
But she's been getting this work on Teams, she's been logging on Teams, but she hasn't been doing her work because we've just kind of thrown them in there in the deep end and said, this is Teams and your teacher is there, you're going to do your work, and this is like normal classroom. But we didn't think of the other challenges that it comes with it, the responsibility that it comes with it, the fact that you
True.
can't concentrate just looking at a screen when you are used to having a teacher in the
Okay.
physical. So she
Mm-hmm.
legit had a meltdown because now she has to go back to school and the teachers want their work. You've been at home for 2 months and
Oh,
you've been
yeah.
doing your work. And it turns out there are some things that she had been missing. So those
Yes.
are some of the real challenges. And I had to kind of just be like, you know what? This is what happened. You now just need to focus and concentrate on it. So it just goes to show that even if you have bigger kids, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've grasped the whole thing of learning online. It's not just for young kids that are not able to cope with it, but even bigger kids are not able to cope because there's just too much distraction, whether it's YouTube or this and that, or they just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
bored, they just don't feel like listening to a teacher who's on the other side. And if you're in your room, you're gonna fall asleep, you're
Of
gonna
course.
take a
Of
nap
course.
in
Of course.
between
Of
class,
course.
and mom is in a Zoom meeting and not seeing what's going on. So those are some of the real
Absolutely.
challenges, and it's really stressful for the children.
It's
In
it's
as
it's it's
much
it
as it
is.
has posed, yeah, it has posed a good thing that they are learning technology and all of that, but they're not really
It's too
coping,
much.
coping,
It's too much.
coping. Yeah, it's a bit too
Yes.
much for them.
Lennon, before I give to Lennon, I think I need to concur with you guys. I mean, to be frank, we were talking about the same thing with some of the people from work, senior scientists. They were talking about the same thing, that now what they do, their trick is they use whiteboards. those virtual whiteboards. They don't do slides and presentations. What you do is you break up your class into 20 minutes intervals, 20 minutes, 10 minutes break, 20 minutes, 10 minutes break. What you do, you write on a whiteboard, just like on a blackboard. After that, delete.
Yeah.
So that they don't sleep. Otherwise, if you do the presentation and what, they will sleep. And scare them that you're not recording the lecture.
Yeah.
And if they want the recording of the lecture, they need to give a reason why they would want to have a recording of the lecture. So that they remain alert. And we acknowledge this challenge, but I think that keeps kids awake. And then you can say, okay, we break now, we can have some jokes or something like that. And then we continue and we break like that. So this is what I think. I think because Senis is saying, from what I'm hearing so far, there is no solutions. Everyone is struggling. Okay, I just gave one. Leonard, the other ones, Grace then says, I end up find a teacher for extra lessons. So for now, I'm sorted. Okay, this is more resources that a person has to invest and invest. So imagine, let's say for Queen, it's Wi-Fi, gadgets, extra lessons. No, I mean, I don't know. Are we getting more money or more paid more because there's a pandemic? No. So this is a little bit difficult. Lennon, you can go ahead, man.
All right, thank you, Herbert. So what we have done, the setup that we've done for the kids here at home, we have made sure that they treat every day like a normal school day. So they wake up, they go have a shower, and when they're doing school, they're not doing school on their bed so that they'll sleep. They'll sit on a desk, or switch on their laptops or their gadgets, and they do work. And when they do work, they need, after they've done the work, we sit with them, and then they must tell us what they have been learning. And also in terms of after class, we have set up some passwords in certain platform that they normally go, so that whatever they go into, we see them. So these are some of the things that we've managed to set up, and it has been working for us, and it's still working for us, so that whenever they do something, they know that they need to report back what they've done. Because when we started, we just tell them, okay, do your work. And we realized that, okay, like what Queen said, they were not doing some of the work. They were just rushing and they need to go to play games and stuff. But at the end of the day, we sat down and we say, okay, let's treat these things as a normal school day, and Monday to Friday from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So it's been working for us.
But let me take it a little back. I mean, imagine that I've got work deadlines and all that stuff. I don't have time to listen to what he was talking about, what she was talking about. This is a problem again. I'm already probably sleeping around late, trying to get my deadlines and dealing with them, and I don't have this time. How do I do that? But the other point that I can point out is on your Wi-Fi router, if you get the admin password, you can actually time out depending on where you get it. You can time out when your social media is blocked.
Ah, nice.
You can time out to say between this time to that time, all social media is literally blocked. No matter what they do or what, it's blocked. As long as they don't have data on their phone, they want to access the Wi-Fi, they'll never see anything at that particular time. Then automatically it will open up after a certain time.
Yes.
Wow.
And also just to take you back a bit.
Say how to do that.
Yeah, maybe but it depends from vendor to vendor. It's not like a uniform thing. If you go to admin, I think you should find, or if you're using Telcom, you can literally go and ask them, like, how can I do this kind of thing? They'll probably show you the steps, or Google to say, how do I stop some other websites to actually show at a certain time?
Yeah.
So
I believe on Android there is an app like that.
You also believe in Android there's an app? Yes, but the other thing, depending on your age group, your kids' age group, this is a problem, because if you use things like Android, they can play around it and find a way to avert it. You need to actually be on router. They can find another way on routers, but usually not so much. Because the router is the way we're getting the Wi-Fi from. But if I have to put it on Android on some phone, it's not the router. I can get away from your phone and get to the router. And they're becoming clever.
Okay.
The more they get access to technology, just know that they are becoming way too clever than you could ever be.
Yeah.
And they are learning all the tips and what they are doing that. But anyways, before we actually jump into that, I mean, tell us your like Queen. Now I think you pointed us to a point where we said a negative impact on this online or homeschooling, that it's inevitable that someone, now we as adults, we actually struggle to concentrate that long, but at any given time, right now we're putting kids to sit on a laptop for 4 or 5 hours concentrating. We can't even do that. Our concentration span is very low. But what has the pass rate improved? Do you, but I think for now it has gone down. I mean, does it have any positive thing from this, or it's just like things are going down the drain, or it is dependent on the level of how educated the parent is, or how well knowledgeable the parent is, or it's a universal thing?
I don't know. I kind of feel like, I mean, this is just my perspective. I kind of feel like it's a 50-50 depending on how you're looking at it. One of my daughter's school work as opposed to 4 terms of work, because obviously just to account for the time that they were actually not at school and for the stuff that they did not do. So I think in that context, then the pass rate is not really affected because they are still being examined on the stuff that they actually did. But the flip side of the coin, I kind of feel like there's been so much other learning, because to be fair, at school you are taught to memorize, you know, to memorize stuff and then rewrite it, right? Whereas now with the pandemic, you're learning other skills, you're learning collaboration, you're learning technology, how to use technology, you know. But also on the other flip side is that you are missing that human connectivity, playing with other children, being creative in that space, you know. So I kind of feel like there's a balance of things, because there's a bag that, okay, you've learned other new stuff, but there's the other side that is saying, oh, but I need my friends at school to.
Yes, I agree with you, but to a certain extent, yes, that's true. From an African context, we always appreciate that we are learning new technology, but I'm sure there are other people that already knew about this technology. It's just that they are now using it more frequent. Like the discrepancy is very high. Like what was you saying? There are so many. So you have got someone who's an expert in the class of computers, and then you've got someone who has never seen a computer in the same class, and you're trying to bring these two together. This is also a problem that happens a lot. But I get you, and they also lack this emotional intelligence or the human interaction, that sometimes they don't even know how to interact with other people. I mean, Leonard, tell us your experience about this. Do you think they are doing very well, or it depends with the school or your knowledge? Because maybe I'm staying with my grandmother. She doesn't know integration or differentiation. I mean, for sure, things are not going to work.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, at first, I mean, the children were struggling a lot. We had to take most of our time, you know, to sit with them, tell them how all these things are done. And also the schools, I must say, the schools didn't do much in terms of teaching the children, because I mean, nobody saw this coming, this pandemic coming. So when it came, they just say, okay, they threw everything at the parents. It took a lot of our efforts to make sure that these kids are well equipped to study online using all these gadgets and all this technology. And I must say, I mean, the children have grasped it very well in terms of technology. I mean, some of the things that my son does, I don't even know. I mean, he actually shows me some of these things, and you know, I can tell you, for example, just he connected. There's some connections that he did on the TV and the laptops and the phones and stuff, and I didn't understand these things. And but it's just by seeing these things, and the parents did a lot of effort to show the kids how these things are done. And up to by now it's all about managing them, and they are actually. I like what Letty said earlier on in terms of the rules that she put for the children. Sometimes, like when she said, in my house, the phone should be in my bedroom at a certain time. We also do the same, so that they learn how to be responsible. At a certain time, they don't need to be on the phone. There's a time that they just need to sit and reflect on what they have been learning or what they've been playing, rather than just playing and playing and playing. So, I mean,
so
parents have.
Kedi, I want to come to you, and unfortunately, we are running out of time. And I would want you to tell us about this experience, and then also, what do you think would be the long-term effects on these kids? Do you think that they are they positive, or do you think they'll be at a better advantage because they know technology better?
To be honest, there is a positive. I mean, I think if anything, all of us could learn something out of this pandemic. Teachers, parents, everybody alike. But of course, there would need to be certain systems in place. Management would have to come up with better strategic plans. And especially during this time, I think it's important for us to also implement compassion, because I think that's the biggest thing that we seem to miss. And if anything is going to get in our way, it's the lack thereof. I think we need to be understanding that it is a process, it is difficult. Children and parents and teachers alike are overwhelmed. And therefore, it's important that we practice kindness and patience. I know that many times I've given out work and students hadn't done it because they don't have access, or parents are not able to assist. Of course, it's frustrating because I have a deadline and there's a syllabus that needs to be finished. But on the same breath, it doesn't help that I have a deadline, but they're not learning anything, or the parents are not able to assist in anything. So I think during this time, the only thing that can get us through is compassion. And yeah, if we're going to talk about government and all the structures, then we won't finish, because that's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day. Yes, yes. Queen, tell us, what do you think?
I think I agree. I agree with Katie so much on this point. I think emotional intelligence is at the highest for everybody. I think that's the critical skill at the moment, because there's just so much of the unknown that we are dealing with, and we're gonna need to practice a lot of kindness and a lot of understanding and a lot of patience. But also, I kind of feel like this pandemic is teaching us to take a step back and think, is it maybe time for education to change altogether? Because now we are in a digital era where information is readily available, where you had to learn to label an ant. You can now Google and just get what an ant looks like, and you move on with your life. So I think this is really a great opportunity for us to say, hey, should we be changing the system altogether and just finding ways, maybe teaching children how to collaborate, how to make money, how to invest, like how to be compassionate, like maybe maybe education should be moving from that whole everybody fits in a glove, everybody must wear school uniform, and everybody must look the same, everybody must draw the frog. Maybe now it's really time to just explore how we should be doing things completely different, and try and move with the times as to where the world is really going. I mean, if you can read and write, for me, I think that's more than enough. And if you can think critically, that's more than enough. There's no need for all this thing that is happening. But then again, hey, I'm just
Yes,
putting it
yes,
out there.
yeah. So I wanted to say something. You know, my professor used to say that anyone who depends on technology, like, you know, when you do word autocorrect and everything, that person should be fired, because we can just use the technology. We don't need that person anymore. But I mean, it's a conversation for another day. Um, what your last part, Lennon?
All right. Firstly, I share the same sentiment with KD and Queen. The children have been affected very much in from 2020 until now in terms of even the pass rate and the performance. No, look, we only talked about a portion of the few children who have access to these things, and I mean a lot of the children didn't have access to these things from March until now, and it's been a year, and you know there is need for the schools and government to step in now and try to enforce these things and try to invest in schools in terms of technology, especially when it comes to gadgets and computers.
Absolutely.
There is need to have that laboratory, or every classroom has to have computers so that children can have access to these things. Otherwise, when the child leaves school at the end of the day, when he gets home, there's nothing, there's no laptop, there's no computers. So we need to enforce these things and allow, I mean, and ask the government to invest in this new technology so that the children from now going forward, because we never know how far this thing is going to go. We never know if we're going to take another year. And in terms of performance of the children, it's going to take another year or two for the children to grasp and come back to the normal, you know, senses when it comes to all this web that they've been given. So my last words will be let's encourage the schools and the government to invest more in schools in terms of technology, rather than just giving out money for other people. Let's invest. Let them buy the equipment so that the children can learn. Thank you.
Okay, guys, it has been a very interesting conversation with your views. And for those who engaged in this conversation from our social media platforms, thank you so much. And thank you so much for your support. We have come to an end of our section. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Understanding that in the current times that we are, where we are faced with the challenge of COVID, there are different propositions in terms of what should be done. I think what I am worried about is people who are in rural communities who are not connected to the internet. Those individuals do not have access to updates about what's happening. They do not have access to updates in terms of what they can actually do. So if someone is willing to do, an act of kindness, my suggestion would be, please support individuals in rural communities by providing, it could be just top up airtime, top up data, providing them with, cheap smartphones that they can use to access the internet. I understand that some challenges are beyond our capabilities because they need the involvement of either the government or mobile network operators. But I would urge individuals who can to support those in rural communities